Hello and welcome back to the Stronghold. That's right, it's that time again. It's time for Friday Night Magic. And around here, we play at home. This week, we are getting a super down and dirty budget. That's right, no mythics, no rares, not even any uncommons. We're just straight up Pauper this week. But before we get into all that, I've set a goal here for the channel to get to 100 subscribers. And while that does not seem like a lofty goal, I can't do it without you. So if you're finding any sort of technical value, any sort of entertainment value, or just are a giving sort of soul, please take a moment and subscribe to the channel. And again, if you're seeing the value, others probably will too. So be sure to push this out to a friend who may or may not play Arena yet, because hopefully my content is just the sort of thing that beginners need in order to get a leg up on the environment. And here we are, just a couple months into that goal, and we are already over halfway. That's right, at the time of this recording, we have hit 51 subs, and our goal was to hit 100 by the end of the year. So hurrah to us. I'm considering this a major success and victory. And I just want to take a moment to thank all of you out there who have assisted with this, particularly those folks that you see on our screen, our subscribers who have taken the initiative not only to subscribe to the channel, but also made their subscription public. So thank you to each and every one of you. If you have chosen to keep your subscription private, I respect that. And I'm so glad to have you here. And while I have your attention, don't forget to tap the notification bell and make sure that you are being notified of all the possible content that we're bringing out there to you, so you never miss out on a thing. Wait, what's that? You didn't catch all that?
All right, so let's take a few minutes and dive into our Pauper green deck. I'm going to go card by card and talk about why it's included and what I think is its importance for the deck. First up here is Moss Viper, and I got one word for you. It's Death Touch. Turn one, drop this down, and you are going to hold back a whole lot of stuff just because they don't want to lose their board position. Ranger's Guile gives you a nice instant speed combat trick with a +1/+1, and the Hexproof allows it to be a countermeasure against removal or other negative effects. Sudden Spinneret gives you a little reach to deal with their flying creatures, plus the ability to untap the creature as you cast it allows it to be a nice unexpected response. Gingerbrute, I think we're all pretty familiar with this guy. If you've been playing Bombardment this season, you know what's up with this.
For some of us,
a 1/1 with haste makes a nice turn 1 answer. And by answer, I mean pound your opponent's face with Gingerbread. Also, its ability to become virtually unblockable or to become a food source is pretty nice for versality.
Do it for the algorithm.
Curious Pair, it's food. And a 1/3 blocker on turn 2.
I'll see you
Druid of the Cowl,
in the arena.
Mana Acceleration. You got this for free with your code. Let me see. I believe it is Sparkle Druid. I believe that's the code on that. If I'm wrong, be sure to check out my comprehensive codes video for the answers. Felt the Pheasant is another food source and gives us an answer for flying creatures. Insatiable Appetite, instant speed combat trick that gets better if you happen to have some food around. Ram Through, the removal spell of choice this season for green, gets even better when you have a creature with trample. So nice. Sets in Training, enchanted creature you control, draw a card. Enchanted creature gets +1/+0, and guess what? Trample. See Ram Through that we talked about just a moment ago. Warbriar Blessing. When Warbriar Blessing enters the battlefield, enchanted creature fights up to one target creature you don't control. and gets +0/+2 just in time for that fight. Loathsome Chimera is one of our lovely little escape creatures. A 4/1 for 3 is not bad, but the fact that it can be repeated through the escape and comes back as a 5/2 makes it even better. Very nice answer along with Warbriar Blessing. You can make this a 4/3 and have it fight. If it happens to die, you can then later escape it and bring it back again. Migratory Greathorn, you may have heard of this card. It mutates, it makes your Moss Viper a 3/4 and tutors up a land. Nihilese Huntmaster enters the battlefield. Target creature you control gets +X/+0, where X is your devotion to green. And guess what, folks? It's a mono green deck. Outmuscle, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, then it fights target creature you don't control. If at least 3 green mana was spent to cast this spell, the creature gains indestructible until end of turn. So use this in your pre-combat main phase, take out the big blocker he was counting on having, and then swing with the even bigger creature once you've taken out the blocker without any real fear because it's indestructible. Fierce Witchstalker, another creature with trample and creates a food token. See Insatiable Appetite to make this a 9/9 trample. Got to love it. Voracious Typhoon, snake beast creature, another escape. This one escapes with 3, count 'em, 3 +1/+1 counters on it. See all those fight combat tricks out there that we mentioned before. Garenbrig Paladin, another adamant spell, enters with a +1/+1 counter on it, so it's a 5/5 for 5, and can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less, so you cannot chump block this little guy right here. A nice little in-game creature to break any stalemates that may be going on the board. Other creatures you control have trample. Very nice. And our wildcard edition for this deck for a single common wildcard is Silverback Shaman. When it dies, draw a card, 5/4. This guy goes very nicely if you reach some sort of stalemate where you can't block through the board, or he dies as a result of combat, or as any kind of those fight removals. When he goes out of the game or out of the battlefield, you get to draw an additional card to theoretically replace him. Toonbale Treefolk is one of our adventure cards. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on your creatures because bigger creatures are almost always fantastic, and you can do that as early as turn 3 with Druidic Cowl in place, assuming you don't miss any land drops. That very nicely makes your Moss Viper or your potentially unblockable Ginger Brute pretty darn big, making either of those a 3/3 powerhouse. And lastly, on the main creatures, we have Greater Sandworm. Not only is this a 7/7 beast of a worm, but can't be blocked by power 2 or less. And if you happen to draw this early and are concerned about being able to play it, you can always cycle it for 2 because card draw in green is ridiculous. Wrapping this up, we've got 15 forests of your choice, as well as 3 gingerbread cabins. Bringing this into play untapped is really not big of a deal on this for just having 3 forests in play. And if you're bringing it in late game like that, it also creates a food token for that food sub-theme we've got going on with several of our cards. So there it is. That's the deck. I think it's what you should be playing at F&M this week. It's what I'm going to be playing. And be sure to tune in very shortly, as a matter of fact, at 7 a.m. on Friday Eastern Standard Time to see how this deck did for me And you can learn from any mistakes that I made, as well as picking up on those secondary tricks and tactics that are built into the deck to try and push it over the edge.